Hello, it's Henry. I'm back again. I am going to go ahead and try to make this video. This is probably going to be a hard one to do because it's a follow-up to two that were surprisingly easy, where I just kind of let my guard down and just, you know, uh, I don't know, spoke about who I am. And, well, the first one, of course, was called Who I Am Now and What I Want, which was a quote from something that someone dear to me wrote once that had a huge impact on me. And then I did a follow up more on who I am. So this one I'm naming Who I Am and Am Not Any Longer. So more of who I am, but also who I'm not anymore. Um, it's weird. It's like I've been in an advanced state of mourning, grieving for over a year now. And I've touched on this in just about every video I've done because this person relates so strongly uh, to my life, still resonates, even though they're gone. And um, she's just woven so tightly into the fabric of who I am and my passion for art and philosophy and uh, so many things. I mean, very intimate things and very cerebral things, very esoteric things. Um, but um, like I said, she's gone, and I've kind of been in a prolonged period of. I've been all over the Kubler-Ross map of grief. I've been, like someone said to me not too long ago, that it's not linear. And it's not, I mean, you think it'd be like, okay, denial, and then whatever, then anger, then bargaining, then depression, then acceptance, maybe in that order. But anyway, mine haven't been in any order whatsoever. Um, Acceptance, I have accepted on a certain level, like the reality of things. As far as accepting that it's happened, that that chapter is closed and I'm moving forward in life, I haven't accepted that yet, and I think I touched on that in one of my other videos. That's tough. It's tough. Um, I have been watching a horror movie here in the background, Blood and Black Lace. I may turn it down a little bit because it's getting frantic as hell. I'm not torturing my cat back here. I promise. That was just screaming in a movie. Um, he's probably torturing me, but so I'm realizing that uh, I'm past the denial stage, as in um, I know this happened. Um, I don't. I no longer can like deny that it happened. I can't doubt that it was the reality of things. Even though it's obviously not the reality that I was hoping for. That I was believing in and that I was living. It's none of those things. So it's a different reality, as this person used to say to me in a very soft voice. It's a different world, and she was right. It is. It's a different world without her in it, and my world is really a little colder, a little poorer. Well, maybe greatly poorer for her passing out of my life. Um, so my mind has been processing this loss as it would a death, and um, like I said, I'm through the denial stages, and I know this has happened. I accept that this is reality, uh, even though true acceptance, I'm not there yet. Um, I go back and forth with depression. I go back and forth. It took me a long time, but I finally began feeling anger. It's hard for me to be angry at someone I care that much about. Really be angry, and I had to finally give myself that afford myself that luxury, I guess you could say, or you know, I was denying myself a lot of things. I was punishing myself because I was ashamed that I failed in this juncture in my life. So the anger finally came, and it wasn't just anger anymore at myself. It was anger at her, and also, just frustration and anger about the situation. But it's not anger towards her as in any malevolence. That's the whole point. I've never felt anything negative energy towards this person. She might be the only person that I've ever known that I can say that about. Um, did I ever get mad at her? Yeah, very little though. Did we ever fight? Yeah, a little bit, but I don't know. Um, I think it was taken on her end a lot differently than it was on mine in the end. And, we each walked away with our respective views on um, how to describe or classify what had happened, how to compartmentalize in our minds, and go about our daily lives separate instead of connected. Um, I don't agree with this person's um, take on it the one I last heard, because really it's very oblique to me now. Um, it's a blank. It's like when my mother died. We weren't particularly close. I mean, we weren't on bad terms, but she was in a very different state because she had advanced Parkinson's disease, and she'd already had a lot of depression issues and mental issues. And so her dopamine was way out of whack, and she was really hopeless, feeling hopeless over her imminent demise, which is pretty damn understandable. Um, but even though we weren't close that way when she passed away, every once in a while I would think about things that I would want to talk to her about, and I couldn't. This feeling like welled up within me of hitting this wall, and it was like drowning. It was like suffocating, and you can't escape it. You're pushing against it, and you know, all you need to do is push back. I mean, to pull back and let go, and you'll be able to breathe again. But instead, you keep pushing, and that is what I think I've done in this instance. Is I feel that way. I feel helpless. I feel trapped. I feel suffocated. I feel like I'm drowning. Um, like I can't breathe because I can't push forward anymore. I've hit a wall, and I just keep hitting it, and I've tried to pull back from it. And sometimes that works to an extent for a time. Um, I've tried to maybe sidestep it, around it. It's hard. I mean, it's the reminder of the loss is always there because, again, I haven't accepted it on an elemental level. My mother, her death was final, and the circumstances for it were very clear and had been very clear for quite a long time. So in a way, I mourned my mother before she actually physically passed away. Um, so uh, in this case, it's different because it's not a corporeal death, but it may as well be. It's it's someone that's hidden themselves from the world, hidden themselves from my world, uh, but not just my world, really the whole outside world, their former means of communication with the outside world and their former means of making their mark on the world through their creativity. Um, I'm sure that won't last. I mean, I hope it won't last. I hope that they'll re-engage, but I have no indication that that will happen. And when it does happen, I don't know where my mind will be. I don't, and I know if I stepped forward and tried to, uh, I don't know, bridge that endless dark gulf between us, um, it may only make things worse for me. My suffering might increase rather than decrease. So I guess this time around, I'm just talking about specifically this part of my life rather than just keep coming back to it or touching upon it. I'm actually kind of saying it. When I say who I am, it's a big part of who I am, and for well or ill, and it's a big part of who I'm not any longer. I'm no longer the person that was happy um, in that kind of scenario. Truly happy, despite any mundane day to day things that cropped up, or any conflicts over foolish things like money and things like that people argue over, that they needn't argue over, and it's sad. It's really sad. Um, I've reflected, and I this person exhorted me to learn and grow, keep learning and growing. Well, I have. I'm learning and growing, and the more I learn, the more I realize, the more I know this person even than I did when I was with them. The more I realize about what happened with us. Um, but conversely, the more I love this person, and that makes me miss them all the more. And then we're right back to that suffocating feeling of reaching out, and you know, there's never anything reaching back. So, um, I have a therapist. I know you're shocked. Um, he's not very good though. I've had some bad ones. I've had some really good ones too. Two really good ones in my life that I felt close to. I liked them so much. They made such an impression on me that I based characters on each of them in Flickr Street. Um, though I do that with tons of people that make an impression on me. Um, this guy isn't in the awesome column. He's kind of in the mediocre column. He's not in the ones I really love, who've really helped me, or the ones who have just not done a damn thing for me, and actually probably made things worse. He's just kind of in the mediocre center. It's more of that lame centrism. It's like politics. It's like it's impotent. It has no power. It has no forward momentum, or backward momentum. It's just treading water, and that's what it's like talking to this person. Nice person. I can't fault him for not being kind, um, but at the same time, I don't feel I don't know if fulfilled is the word. I don't know if you feel fulfillment from therapy, but you feel some kind of release of some kind when it's, going successfully. I don't feel that way. And he's actually, I feel that way so little that things are sliding into the more into the minus column of actually making things worse. It takes energy to repress things that you're in a position where you naturally want to reveal them. So I'm revealing more in these videos, not just these 3 videos. I mean, these are the most soul bearing, as I called them, of all my videos, but thus far. Um, but there are pieces, intimate pieces of me kind of scattered throughout, my discussions about film and about music and about my work, my art, my comics. And I think that's as it should be. I'm a very self-aware person. I'm in touch with all of these things. I was lauded, uh, a year and a half ago for being such a self-aware person, and then the same person who praised me, you know, months later was telling me that I was blind, hypocritical, and not self-aware at all, really. But they were wrong because, but I'll never have the chance to really have a dialogue with them and say, you're wrong. Not to make them wrong, not for me to be right. It's not important that you're right. Uh, your ego gratification, that's irrelevant. What's important is what you're right and wrong about. And I'm right about myself, and I know that I was a good partner, um, and I have no doubt of that. I was judged rather harshly about things that I don't feel I needed to be judged that harshly about, because you know why? Because when you make that kind of pact with another person and that kind of relationship and you decide mutually that's what it is, then within that context, you know, judgment has no place, and you must accept each other. You naturally accept each other for good and bad, and that's how a marriage is going to work. And that's just any kind of intimate partnership, but certainly a commitment of that nature, which I was embarking upon for the second time. But I learned from the first time, I knew that, and I couldn't bring that across to my partner. And the only reason I was in a position where I felt like I had to try to bring it across was because it wasn't just happening. The acceptance was in me, but the acceptance I felt from them withdrew to where there was no acceptance of me and any fault of mine or any human foible. I am fallible. I'm probably difficult to live with. I'm difficult to deal with. I'm a handful, but so was the person I was with in a lot of ways. But you know what? It didn't phase me one way or another, because I already learned from being married before. That's part and parcel of what that partnership is all about. So to get back to the therapist thing, because again, I'm inching back into the discussing the person I'm mourning. Um, but it's related, of course, because my therapist isn't helping me work through that grief. He seems unable to um, connect on that level. It's more of a pragmatic thing, a basic kind of friendly caring. It's not, he doesn't ask the right questions. He doesn't probe. He doesn't challenge me. Uh, I mean, he doesn't insult me or patronize me either, as some of the worst therapists I've had have done. But at the same time, he's not. he's not making me aware of things. I have to do all that work myself. So I'm putting in the work, and that's something my ex fiance told me I needed to do, and that no one could do it for me, and that's true. And I am doing it, and I am alone in doing it, and that's cool. Um, is there any other state I'd rather be in? Uh, Walking around the earth with this knowledge, these things I've learned, and this growth I've experienced, well, as a human being, well, yeah, with her. Um, Other than that, uh, no, I'll be content within myself. Um, so that's the card you're dealt. Um, when my ex-wife left, uh, a guy who was a very close friend of mine at that time said, Henry's been dealt a really bad hand here. And he was being dramatic as usual, but I loved him for that. And he was right. I was. Things weren't so cut and dried this time around. They weren't so blatant. They weren't so obvious. Um, it's, you know, anyway. Um, I've droned on a long time. So, you know, who I am now and what I want. And now we're at who I am and am not any longer. And who I am as a person bereft of the person I was before. So it's not just a grieving and a mourning of a relationship, of a person who's, you know, put themselves out of the realm of contact, but also the person I was when I was with that person. And in some ways, before I met that person, I mean, I've gotten back to things that I always liked. That hasn't been taken away from me, but that's only incidental in this case because I shared all those things with this person upon meeting them. That's why we bonded, why we connected. So they've chosen to take another path and not illuminate it for me, and that's fine. That's totally within reason. But so I have to deal with what I'm left with, and it's not easy. Um, so in some ways, from the outside looking in, I've been through worse than this, as far as death and loss and depression and deep anguish and struggle to survive materially and emotionally. Um, that is all true. But as far as the profundity of what I've lost, there's nothing that remotely comes close to this. Because, in the context of what I was blessed with, there was nothing that came remotely close to the profundity of its bliss, its beauty, and its ecstasy. So we're back to that. Is it better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all, or is it better never to have loved at all? I think it's better to have loved and lost. I think experience is always better than non-experience. Knowledge is always better than ignorance, but that comes with a price. And right now, I'm kind of paying that. So that's one reason I'm doing these videos, because I guess this is a form of therapy. I guess that's obvious. I'm doing like a bed in, like John and Yoko, I mean, so obviously, there's a veneer that is crumbled, and I'm kind of letting the world in, or maybe projecting myself out into the world um, in these videos, and most of them are my views on the arts, and then a big chunk of them are my art, my ideas, my thoughts, my creations. But you know, in these last few these three videos, they're more personal, more soul bearing, as I called them. Um, it's about simply myself, and it's a really trite kind of cliche, and it's a little presumptuous considering I might have like a dozen people who are going to watch this, but maybe. Um, but if anything I'm saying resonates or makes anyone watching this feel a little bit less alone in their feelings about such things, such emotions that they've experienced or are experiencing, um, then that's rewarding. So on that note, I shall take a leave. Um, I'll give a quick rundown on the going forward part of my video uh, adventure, not my life adventure. Um, I am going to do part 2 of Black Sabbath pretty soon, but I'm not sure which day. I will be doing a nice Thanksgiving special for Blue Review, and it's not because I really observe or celebrate Thanksgiving per se. I certainly don't observe it as a lot of Americans do. I have not in quite a long time. Um, but I do have a Thanksgiving ritual, and it does involve film, so it's perfect. So beyond that, I don't know. I might throw in some other reviews somewhere in there in the next few days, uh, and who knows when I'll get to that 12th and possibly final Flickr Street video. Um, and I do probably will do another arbitrary interlude because I'd like to thank some people at length, and doesn't really fit into this video or any of the other ones exactly, so that would be a good place. So I might have another short video coming on the horizon as well. So anyway, let me depart before I hit the dreaded half-hour mark, and thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and I hope it hasn't been too much of a chore winding your way through the morass that is my mind. Uh, in the meantime, till we meet again, take care. All right. Thank you. Bye bye.